Hey everyone, this is GFrom and welcome back to Month of Naughty Dog. 3 games made by some naughty dogs. Our last game is Uncharted, Drake's Fortune for the PS3. Hope you enjoy. In Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, you play as Nathan Drake, supposed descendant of the explorer Sir Francis Drake, as he seeks the lost treasure of El Dorado with the help of his friend Victor Solly Sullivan and journalist Elena Fisher. I really don't want to tell you any more about the story because the story is the strongest element of the game and I don't want to ruin it for you. There will be one spoiler, but I'll warn you before that happens. There are 22 chapters in this game and lots of plot twists that keep you excited. The gameplay is a mix of platforming and shooting. Nate kind of looks like your everyday normal guy, but he sure is an acrobatic fellow. He can jump, move along ledges, climb, swing from ropes, swim and perform various other acrobatic stuff in order to progress. You have to face a lot, and I mean a lot of enemies. You can take these guys out by either punching them to death with different combos or use one of your weapons. Nate can only carry one pistol and one rifle at a time, for which you have to pick up ammunition constantly. During gunfight you have to take cover behind walls, rocks, etc. and aim at your enemy or blind fire. When you take damage, the screen loses color. To get your health back, you simply wait. To give you a little variety, there are missions where you ride a jet ski while switching to Elena, who shoots enemies with a grenade launcher. Then you have to protect the jeep that Elena is driving and so much more. Like you've seen, you aren't always alone, since Sully and Elena follow you in certain parts and even help you killing enemies. By that I don't mean that they just stand there and shoot, but they really do kill some. The AI is kind of good in this game. Wow! The controls are really good too. I almost never have problems with them. The only thing that's kind of unnecessary is the 6-axis stuff when you throw grenades or balance across a tree, but in a way it's a nice touch. Just by looking at it you can tell that Uncharted has some amazing production value. Realism is the key word here. There is so much detail in everything, especially in the cutscenes, which are like looking at a great movie. I'm someone who doesn't care much about graphics, but damn, it enhances the experience a hell of a lot in this game. The character models are amazing to look at, and with the help of motion capture, the movements are as fluid as in real life. Nate and all the other characters all have a personality with very human-like facial expressions. The story takes place on a tropical island filled with temples and ruins, which all look awesome. I especially like the jungle parts with its bright colors, which is a nice change compared to all the brown and grey games nowadays. There's so much variety here. At one point you are inside an old Nazi U-boat, another time you are in an old church. And the whole game takes place on one single day, which means that it begins in the morning and ends in the evening. The sunset and the weather effects are just stunning, and the water looks incredible. When it comes to the sound department, the highlight by far is the voice acting. It sounds incredibly authentic and they made a really good job. You feel that the voices come from the characters. The only downside is that the enemies keep repeating the same lines over and over and over again. The sound effects sound real, the guns, the jet ski, everything. The music is like something you would hear in a movie. It's orchestrated awesomeness. I'll admit, it's nothing catchy or anything like that, and often it's just quiet. My favorite piece of music is the theme song. It fits near to perfect to the atmosphere of the game. After completing Jak 3, the most technically talented staff members of Naughty Dog began working on a title with the codename Big. They decided to create a new series rather than a new Jak and Daxter game in order to create a franchise suitable for Sony's new console, the PlayStation 3. From early previews of the game, comparisons between Uncharted and Tomb Raider were drawn, giving the new game the nickname Dude Raider. Just think about it, a guy raiding dudes. When the game was released in late 2007, it got very high review scores, often being called the best PS3 game of the year. Actually, I only have one complaint, but it's a big one. I hate the combat in this game. Shooting and kicking ass, that's fine, but there are way too many enemies to fight. You kill like 50 damn pirates, walk a little bit, another 20 of them come from everywhere, then you get a cutscene and there's more boring shooting, like 3 waves. Then you do some platforming and 2 more waves of enemies come to shoot you. Isn't that enough? And it's like that very often. It almost ruined the experience for me, because sometimes it just never stops. It makes me wonder how many people Drake killed in this one day. And why could no one stop him? Is he freaking Lara Croft? It's so boring when all you do is shoot, shoot, shoot and die, die, die. If there at least was a little variety on the enemies. Oh, wait. There will be a few spoilers here, so if you don't want to see that, just skip this part. Ready? Okay. Towards the end, the game just changes the whole concept and throws these cursed monsters at you. Damn, that was messed up. In a good way, because you wouldn't have to take cover all the time, but just shoot and improvise. I wouldn't want to meet those things in the dark. It gives the game a totally different feel to it, which is just amazing and kind of scary, almost like a survival horror game. So, that was the spoiler. From now on, there will not be any more of them. I liked almost everything about this game. The cutscenes are pure greatness and I like the characters. Elena is likable and Sully is someone I like to drink a beer with. Nate is actually someone I'd like to be. I think he's cool. And isn't that your dream? To play as someone you'd like to be in real life? I always wanted to have Lara Croft as my girlfriend, and as Nathan Drake, I would have no problems running after her. The platforming is really good, but I would have liked to see more of that. The environments are just crazy real and almost photorealistic. Not that realistic, but you get the idea. Drake's Fortune plays like a game, but feels like a movie. That's a quote from a game called Plumbers Don't Wear Ties on a 3DO, but this time it wouldn't be a lie. The cutscenes, the voice acting, the facial expressions, the super realistic graphics, it gives you this feeling of watching an adventure flick. While the combat almost ruined the game for me, the rest, like the platforming and puzzle solving, was just so good that I kept playing anyways. I've played through this game twice, and the second time I enjoyed the game even more. If you like games like Tomb Raider, you will love this one. It's like the Tomb Raider game we've been waiting for since forever. Coming from someone who enjoys the Tomb Raider franchise, that should say something. It perfects the whole formula, and Drake is someone that can do all this stuff, but is sweating and having a hard time doing all that. That makes him more likable. If you like games where you shoot endless waves of enemies, here's your game. Personally, I wouldn't know why anyone wouldn't like to try this game out. It's like a blockbuster, and I recommend it to all of you. Well, that was our last game on Month of Naughty Dog. 3 games made by some naughty dogs. But just posting 3 random reviews without a real conclusion would be kind of lame, right? So let me give you my final thoughts on this. Since they started to make games exclusively for Sony, Naughty Dog started a new franchise with every new generation of consoles. Instead of sticking with Crash Bandicoot, they start a new franchise because they have new and fresh ideas. Instead of sticking with Jak and Daxter, they start a new franchise due to new technical possibilities. I think that was the best thing they could do. Sure, I would have liked to see a good Crash game on the PS2, but could you imagine not having any of the Jak games? I don't even want to think that thought. Crash with its linear gameplay just wouldn't do it anymore. They could have put him in an open world, but I can see people complaining about that too. This is where Jak and Daxter makes a whole lot of sense. On the PS2, new and better things could be done, and this game perfected it. Now on the PS3 they could have stuck with them too, but they went new ways with Uncharted. With the PS3's ability to create next to lifelike environments, I don't see why they shouldn't go for something realistic. Don't get me wrong, I would have loved to see a Jak and Daxter game in all that detail, in a world even more massive than on the PS2. But I don't want to miss on Uncharted either. Since the days on the PS1, I've been a huge fan of Tomb Raider. With Uncharted, we have a game that perfects the formula and makes it just mind-blowingly awesome. I love all of these franchises. Crash belongs on the PS1, Jak on the PS2, and Drake on the PS3. We have to move on. Instead of doing the same thing over and over again, why not try different things and create new franchises? That's why I love Naughty Dog. I haven't played a single crappy game by them. And by that I don't mean the games that came before Crash Bandicoot. When it comes to the 3 games I reviewed, I think they made a good job with all 3 of them. Let's make a quick little top 3 on this. Number 3. Crash Bandicoot is my least favorite of the 3 because it just has too many flaws. I played it a lot as a kid, but it didn't manage to impress me a lot, and I have no nostalgia for this game whatsoever. I'm glad they made this game though, otherwise we wouldn't have the superb sequels. Number 2. Uncharted Drake's Fortune takes everything we love or hate about Tomb Raider and makes it a million times better. The graphics, the cutscenes, it's as close as you could get to a playable movie without having to watch cutscenes that are like 12 hours long. This game is close to perfect if it wasn't for the boring and repetitive gunfights. Number 1. Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy is one of the best games I've ever played. The graphics are so colorful, the open world is massive, Daxter is funny as shit, and collecting stuff has almost never been so much fun. I love this game, and I can play it any day. Sadly, this is the only one in the franchise that is like this, but we should be thankful for having it. Well, thanks for watching everybody, it's been a lot of fun to make Month of Naughty Dog. 3 games made by some naughty dogs. Feel free to rate, comment and subscribe.
Next up is Halloween, so I guess I have to make a horror game, right? What about Castlevania on the NES? I'll see you later, have a nice day.